When someone rejects you, what's your first reaction? Do you feel the urge to explain yourself, to justify your actions, or maybe even to lash out in frustration? It's completely natural to want to fight back against rejection. But what if, instead of reacting with words or actions, you chose to stay silent? Let me tell you a story about Sarah. A few years ago, Sarah had poured her heart and soul into a business proposal she was confident about. She spent hours, days, and weeks crafting the perfect pitch, anticipating that this would be the opportunity that would take her career to the next level. But when the response came, it was a rejection. A polite one, but rejection nonetheless. Sarah was devastated. She felt the urge to immediately call and defend her ideas, to convince them that they were wrong. But then something within her shifted. Instead of reacting, she decided to stay silent. She didn't call, didn't argue. Instead, she sat in silence for a moment, reflecting on the feedback and the lesson she could learn. By embracing silence, she gave herself the space to process her emotions, regain her composure, and reflect on what really mattered. In that silence, she found strength and clarity. That moment of silence became a turning point for Sarah. It wasn't just a response to rejection, it was a practice in self-control and a tool for growth. She realized that silence had the power to protect her dignity and her peace, allowing her to rise above the sting of rejection and come out stronger. In today's episode, we're going to explore how silence, especially in moments of rejection, can be your most powerful tool. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, understood that true strength lies not in reacting immediately, but in choosing how we respond to the challenges life throws at us. By staying silent after rejection, we create the space to reflect, grow, and regain our inner strength. So what happens when you choose silence after rejection? Let's explore the 10 powerful lessons from Stoicism on how silence can become your ally in those challenging moments, turning rejection into an opportunity for personal growth and inner peace. 1. Silence is your best tool to face rejection. Have you ever felt that immediate urge to speak up, defend yourself, or fight back after facing rejection? Whether it's in a personal relationship, a job interview, or any other scenario, rejection can make us feel small, misunderstood, or even wronged. It's a natural instinct to react, to explain ourselves, or to argue our point. But here's the powerful truth. Sometimes the best response to rejection is no response at all. In moments of rejection, silence can be your greatest ally. Instead of engaging in a back and forth or trying to justify your worth, silence allows you to pause, regain your composure, and protect your emotional peace. When you stay silent after rejection, you're not giving away your power to the situation. You're choosing to control your response and maintain your dignity. Think about the moments in your life when you've been rejected. What did you do afterward? Did you immediately try to convince the other person to change their mind? Did you let your emotions take over, possibly making the situation worse? Or in those rare moments, did you choose to remain silent and allow yourself to reflect? The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, often wrote about the importance of responding to challenges with calm and composure. In his Meditations, Marcus wrote, "When you are troubled by external events, remember that it is not the event that disturbs you, but your judgment about it." What he's suggesting here is that rejection, or any external event, is only as powerful as the meaning we give it. When we react immediately, we allow the event to control us. But by choosing silence, we regain our power. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you're avoiding the situation. It means you are choosing a thoughtful response over an emotional one. You're not surrendering your self-worth to the rejection. Instead, you're giving yourself the time and space to process the experience before deciding how to act. When you embrace silence after rejection, you prevent yourself from making decisions you may later regret. You create room to understand the rejection better, to learn from it, and most importantly, to protect your mental and emotional well-being. Instead of jumping into an emotional reaction, you take a step back and maintain your sense of self. By staying silent, you also send a powerful message to the person who rejected you. You're not desperate for validation, and you don't need to convince them of your worth. Your silence speaks volumes. It shows confidence, maturity, and strength. You don't need to justify yourself. You know your value, and you are content with who you are, regardless of external validation. So the next time you face rejection, remember the power of silence. Use it as your tool to regain composure, reflect, and respond with dignity. You'll be surprised by how much strength and clarity you can find in that quiet space. 2. Recognize your own worth through silence. In the face of rejection, it's easy to start doubting ourselves. We might think, if they don't want me, there must be something wrong with me. Our self-worth can get tangled up in how others perceive us or how we are treated. But here's the hard truth. Your worth is not defined by someone else's opinion of you, and silence is a powerful tool to remind yourself of that. When you stay silent after rejection, you create space to reconnect with your own value, independent of external judgment. www.muji. All gets a chance to step back, reflect, and remember that your worth doesn't come from approval or validation. It comes from within. Think about how often we tie our self-worth to external factors. How many times have you felt less than because of a rejection? Maybe it was a job offer that didn't come through, a relationship that didn't work out, or an idea that was shot down. These moments can feel like a personal attack, but the truth is, they don't define you. They only define that one moment or situation. By choosing silence, you give yourself the opportunity to detach from the emotional reaction to rejection. Instead of letting it consume you, you take a step back and ask, why, what is my true value apart from this moment? In those quiet moments, you can reconnect with your strengths, your achievements, and your unique qualities. This practice of recognizing your worth through silence is rooted in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that external circumstances, including rejection, should not dictate how we feel about ourselves. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, rejection is a part of life, but your reaction to it is what shapes your sense of self. By staying silent after rejection, you give yourself the time to reflect and remind yourself that your worth is constant, regardless of what happens externally. You don't need others' approval to know who you are or to acknowledge your value. Rejection is just a moment in time. It doesn't define your worth. This doesn't mean you ignore the feedback or the lesson that might come with rejection. Instead, it means you take the time to process the situation without the weight of self-doubt. You separate your identity from the rejection itself and focus on the bigger picture of who you are and what you're capable of. So when rejection comes, instead of reacting in frustration or self-criticism, embrace the silence. Use it as an opportunity to reflect on your true worth. By taking this moment of stillness, you remind yourself that no one's opinion or action can ever diminish your value. Your worth is not tied to the outcome of a single event, and by recognizing this truth, you free yourself from the emotional turmoil that rejection often brings. Silence gives you the space to reconnect with your inner strength and reassert your self-worth, regardless of external circumstances. 3. Let your absence speak louder than words. When faced with rejection, we often feel the urge to explain ourselves, to defend our actions, or to prove our worth. We feel as though words are necessary to mend the situation, to clarify misunderstandings, or to change the other person's perception of us. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing at all. In fact, your silence can speak volumes, louder than any words ever could. Think about it. When you stay silent after being rejected, you're letting your absence make the statement for you. There's a subtle power in walking away, in not scrambling for validation or attempting to explain yourself. By remaining silent, You let the other person feel the weight of your absence, and in doing so, you allow them to reflect on the impact of their actions. You don't need to justify yourself or engage in an endless back and forth. Your presence or lack thereof is enough of a response. This silence doesn't mean you're weak or passive. It's a deliberate, powerful choice. When you choose to stay silent, you're asserting your own boundaries, demonstrating that you won't beg for approval, that you won't chase after someone who doesn't see your value. Your absence becomes a reflection of your self-respect and your decision to protect your energy. In Stoic philosophy, the idea of letting action speak louder than words is central. Marcus Aurelius in his Meditations wrote about the importance of focusing on one's own behavior and not seeking validation from others. He said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, instead of retaliating or seeking justification, the best response is to remain true to your own principles and let your actions, and sometimes your silence, speak for you. When you remain silent, you take the power back from the situation. Instead of getting lost in a debate or a defensive posture, you choose to walk away with dignity. You don't need to explain, apologize, or make excuses for being yourself. You simply let the absence of your words reflect the fact that you recognize your own worth and will not lower yourself to beg for acceptance. This also creates space for the other person to process the situation. Rejection often causes discomfort for both parties involved. By not engaging in a prolonged conversation, you allow the other person to reflect on their actions without the noise of justification. Your silence can make them realize the weight of their decision without you needing to say a single word. It's a powerful form of self-respect. It shows that you are willing to walk away, to let go, rather than hold on to something that doesn't serve you. Your absence in this case is not a defeat. It is an assertion of your own self-worth. You are telling the world that you do not need to prove yourself or chase after approval. So next time you face rejection, consider how silence can be your ally. Let your absence be a powerful response that conveys strength, dignity, and self-respect. You don't always need words to express your value. Sometimes simply walking away, letting go, and allowing your silence to fill the space is the loudest message you can send. 4. Silence as a refuge for inner peace. In a world that's always moving, always demanding, silence can often feel like a luxury we can't afford. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded with noise, emails, messages, phone calls, notifications. Even in the moments when we're not actively engaging with others, the mind races with thoughts, worries, and endless lists of things to do. This constant mental chatter can easily lead to stress, anxiety, and a sense of being overwhelmed. But here's the thing, silence doesn't just mean the absence of sound, it's the presence of inner peace. When you embrace silence, you create a safe haven, a space where you can reconnect with yourself, reset your mind, and protect your emotional well-being. In the aftermath of rejection, silence becomes even more crucial. It's the refuge that allows you to step away from external pressures and focus inwardly, finding calm and clarity amidst the storm of emotions. Stoic philosophers understood the importance of cultivating inner peace. For them, tranquility was a state of mind that could only be achieved by embracing silence and reflection. Epictetus, one of the leading Stoics, taught that we must be mindful of what we allow to disturb our peace. He said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Similarly, inner peace doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from reducing the noise and distractions around us and creating space to focus on what truly matters. When you choose silence after rejection, you create an emotional boundary that protects your peace. Instead of reacting impulsively, whether by arguing, defending yourself, or seeking validation, you give yourself the opportunity to process the rejection quietly. You don't let the outside world dictate your emotional state. You maintain control over your reactions, choosing to protect your mental clarity and emotional well-being. This doesn't mean ignoring your emotions. Silence isn't about bottling up what you feel. It's about allowing yourself the time and space to feel those emotions without being ruled by them. By embracing silence, you give yourself permission to sit with your feelings, reflect on them, and process them in a healthy, productive way. It's in this stillness that we find the strength to understand ourselves better and make decisions based on our values. Rather than on fleeting emotions in practical terms, this could look like taking a moment in the morning to sit in stillness before starting your day. You could meditate, focus on your breathing, or simply reflect on your thoughts in a quiet space. This simple act of embracing silence helps you recalibrate, restore your energy, and start your day from a place of inner peace, not chaos. After rejection, the peace that comes from silence allows you to view the situation more clearly. Instead of letting anger, shame, or frustration control you, you create the space to regain your composure. Silence becomes a tool for emotional regulation, giving you the strength to decide how you'll respond, whether you'll choose to engage or simply let go. By making silence a refuge, you protect yourself from unnecessary stress and cultivate a deep, inner peace that can guide you through any challenge, rejection, or difficulty you face. It's the quiet space that allows you to be in control of your emotional responses and stay aligned with your true values. So when rejection strikes, remember the power of silence as a refuge. Take that moment to step back, regain your inner peace, and center yourself. In this space, you'll find the clarity and strength to move forward with dignity and confidence. 5. Use silence to reflect and grow. When rejection comes your way, it's easy to get lost in the rush of emotions that follow. Disappointment, frustration, sadness, these are all natural responses. But in those moments, silence becomes a powerful tool for reflection and growth. 5. Instead of reacting or allowing those negative emotions to take over, silence offers you the space to step back, gather your thoughts, and understand the situation from a more objective perspective. Think about the times you've been rejected. How many of those moments were followed by emotional reactions, impulsive decisions, or over-explaining yourself? The truth is, when we react impulsively, we often miss out on the opportunity to learn, grow, and become better from the experience. By embracing silence, you give yourself the gift of reflection, allowing you to process the rejection and understand what you can take from it. The Stoics, particularly Seneca, emphasized the importance of reflection in the face of adversity. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This highlights the power of how we view our experiences. When we're caught up in the heat of the moment, rejection feels like a devastating blow. But through silence and reflection, we gain the perspective needed to see the situation clearly and identify the lessons we can learn. Instead of getting lost in self-pity or anger, use silence as an opportunity to reflect on the rejection. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I improve? What is the real reason for this rejection, and how can I grow from it? This kind of self-reflection helps you gain clarity, build resilience, and make better decisions in the future. It also allows you to view the rejection not as a failure, but as a stepping stone toward your personal growth. Silence also creates the mental space to look inward and evaluate your own actions and mindset. Sometimes rejection reveals areas of ourselves that need improvement, whether it's in our communication, our work ethic, or how we approach challenges. When we're caught up in a cycle of reacting and defending ourselves, we often miss the opportunity to evaluate and grow. Silence gives us the opportunity to pause, process, and come out stronger. This kind of reflection isn't just about identifying where we went wrong. It's also about recognizing our strengths, our resilience, and the things that we're doing right. It's easy to focus on the negative aspects of rejection, but reflection allows you to also recognize the positive progress you've made. You're learning, adapting, and moving forward, even in the face of rejection. So the next time you face rejection, remember the power of silence. Instead of reacting immediately, take a moment to reflect. Use the time to learn from the experience, evaluate what you can do better, and recognize how this rejection can ultimately make you stronger and more focused. With each moment of silence, you give yourself the opportunity to grow, not just from the rejection, but in every aspect of your life. 6. Silence as a teacher of self-control. Rejection can trigger a flood of emotions. Anger, frustration, self-doubt, these are all normal reactions when we feel hurt or overlooked. It's tempting in those moments to lash out, to defend ourselves, or to try and explain our worth. But what if the key to mastering rejection and life's challenges is not in reacting, but in exercising self-control through silence? Silence in this context is a powerful teacher of self-control. When you choose to remain silent in the face of rejection, you are not ignoring your feelings. You are choosing to control your reaction. Instead of letting your emotions dictate your response, you consciously decide to hold back, to pause, and to reflect before acting. This is the essence of emotional discipline. The Stoics believed that one of the greatest forms of strength is self-discipline, was the ability to control our emotions, especially in moments of adversity. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." In other words, our emotional responses, our knee-jerk reactions, are often more damaging than the event itself. Our minds can amplify rejection, turning it into something far worse than it actually is. But silence provides us with the space to break that cycle, to step away from immediate reactions, and to regain control of our emotions. Think about how often we regret speaking or acting in the heat of the moment. How many times have we let a harsh word, an angry outburst, or a defensive remark cost us in the long run? Rejection can feel personal, but the way we choose to respond defines who we are and how we grow. By embracing silence, we practice self-control, and in doing so, we preserve our dignity and avoid unnecessary conflict. When you stay silent after rejection, you are demonstrating to yourself that you can remain calm and composed even when life doesn't go your way. You're learning to take a step back, assess the situation with clarity, and respond thoughtfully, not impulsively. Silence helps you avoid making decisions you might regret later, giving you the opportunity to think through your emotions and actions before taking the next step. This practice of self-control isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about mastering them. Silence teaches us that we don't need to react right away. We don't need to rush to defend ourselves or prove our worth. The space between rejection and our response is where growth happens. When we allow ourselves time to process, to reflect, and to calm our minds, we gain the self-control needed to respond with wisdom and dignity. So, next time you face rejection, remember that silence isn't a passive choice, it's an active practice of self-control. It's the moment you decide not to let your emotions control you, but instead to choose how to respond thoughtfully and with strength. By mastering this skill, you're not only handling rejection better, but you're also building emotional resilience that will serve you in all areas of life. 7. The absence of words reveals the strength of your character. When rejection hits, the first instinct for many of us is to react, to explain, to justify, or to convince the other person of our worth. We think that our words will change their perspective, will make them see us differently. But sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is not through your words at all. Sometimes silence itself speaks louder than anything you could ever say. In moments of rejection, choosing silence can reveal the strength of your character. By not engaging in a defensive or emotional response, you show others, and more importantly yourself, that you don't need to justify your worth. Your silence demonstrates confidence, maturity, and inner strength. It's the silent response that often carries the most weight because it shows you are in control of your emotions, your actions, and your peace of mind. Think about the times when someone has lashed out at you or rejected you. What made the biggest impact on you in those moments? Was it their words, or was it your ability to remain calm, collected, and unbothered? Often it's not the words we speak, but the way we carry ourselves in those challenging moments that leaves a lasting impression. The Stoics understood the importance of maintaining one's dignity and composure, particularly in times of adversity. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often wrote about the importance of showing strength through how we handle difficult situations. He said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." What he meant was that our true strength is shown in how we respond to adversity, not by seeking retribution, but by maintaining our principles and staying true to ourselves. Silence in the face of rejection can be a powerful assertion of your self-respect. By choosing not to react immediately, you refuse to let the rejection dictate your self-worth. You are affirming to yourself and to others that you don't need external validation to know who you are. Your strength comes from within, and that is what others will ultimately recognize. This is where the real power of silence lies. It's not about shutting down or ignoring the situation. It's about showing restraint, dignity, and confidence in your own value. When you don't need to justify yourself, you demonstrate that you are secure in who you are. The absence of words becomes your statement of strength. So when faced with rejection, remember that you don't need to respond with words. Your silence will often speak volumes, reflecting your ability to stay calm, composed, and confident in your own worth. And in that silence, you'll find strength and clarity that words could never convey. 8. Rejection as an opportunity to redefine your priorities. Rejection is never easy. Whether it's a job offer you were hoping for, a relationship that didn't work out, or an idea that didn't get the approval you expected, it often leaves us feeling deflated. But rejection is not the end of the road. It can actually be one of the most valuable opportunities you'll ever have to reassess and redefine your priorities. When we experience rejection, it's a signal. It forces us to stop and take a hard look at what we really want, what truly matters, and where we should be focusing our energy. It can reveal areas of our lives where we've been investing time and effort, only to realize that they may not align with our deeper values or long-term goals. The Stoics believed in the importance of constant self-reflection, especially when faced with challenges. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the need to turn obstacles into opportunities for growth. He believed that everything, even rejection, could be viewed as a chance to refine our character and our actions. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This perspective turns rejection into a catalyst for re-evaluation and change. When you stay silent after rejection, you create the space to reflect on your priorities without the noise of emotional reactions clouding your judgment. In those moments of stillness, you can ask yourself, what is truly important to me? What should I be focusing my energy on? Am I chasing goals that are aligned with my deepest values, or have I been distracted by external expectations? Rejection offers you a chance to clear away distractions and realign yourself with your true purpose. It forces you to look at what isn't working and ask yourself if you're focusing on the right things. In that silence, you have the opportunity to reset, to choose a new path, and to direct your energy toward what really matters. By embracing silence after rejection, you give yourself permission to step back and reassess without rushing into new decisions or reacting impulsively. You have time to let go of the need for validation and to reframe the situation as an opportunity for growth. Use this time to redefine your priorities and to ensure that you are focusing your energy on what will bring you true fulfillment. This act of reflection and realignment doesn't mean you abandon your goals or give up. It means you gain clarity on the path you need to take. Rejection is simply the universe's way of nudging you back to what really matters, helping you strip away distractions and refocus on your most meaningful pursuits. So when rejection comes, instead of feeling defeated, use that silence to reflect on your priorities. Let it be a chance to reevaluate what truly matters, to align your efforts with your deepest values, and to move forward with renewed purpose and clarity. 9. Don't seek validation. Find freedom in your silence. Rejection often leaves us searching for approval. We seek validation from others to reassure us that we are worthy, capable, and deserving. Whether it's trying to win back a relationship, get a job, or simply gain someone's approval, the need for validation can consume us. We may find ourselves seeking answers, explanations, or justifications, hoping that our worth will be recognized by someone else. But what if, instead of chasing after validation, you could find freedom in silence? The power of silence is that it frees you from the need for external approval. When you choose silence after rejection, you are no longer looking for someone else to affirm your worth. You stop seeking validation from others and instead turn inward to validate yourself. This shift is liberating. It's the moment you realize that your self-worth is not dependent on the opinions or approval of others. You are enough just as you are. In a world that constantly pushes us to seek external validation through likes on social media, promotions at work, or even approval in personal relationships, it's easy to fall into the trap of measuring our worth by what others think. But the Stoics understood that true freedom comes from within. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." By choosing silence after rejection, you are taking back your freedom from the external world and claiming it for yourself. Silence allows you to stop chasing after the approval that only gives you temporary satisfaction. It empowers you to stop seeking constant validation and instead trust in your own judgment, your own worth. In those moments of quiet, you reclaim your sense of identity independent of others' opinions or expectations. This is where the true strength of silence lies. It teaches you to rely on yourself. When you no longer seek approval, you become free to make decisions that align with your own values and goals, rather than trying to meet the expectations of others. You can stand firm in your choices, knowing that they are right for you, regardless of external feedback. The more you practice finding freedom in your silence, the more you will find peace. You will realize that you don't need to explain yourself, justify your actions, and/or seek permission from others to pursue your dreams. Silence becomes a tool for personal liberation, giving you the confidence to move forward without the burden of needing others to validate your worth. So the next time rejection comes your way, remember, you don't need validation from anyone else. Instead of speaking or seeking approval, turn to silence and find your freedom. In those moments of stillness, you'll discover your own strength, your own value, and the peace that comes with knowing you are enough, just as you are. 10. Silence as a statement of dignity and self-respect. Rejection can often make us feel small, invisible, or insignificant, leading us to question our own worth. In moments like these, it's natural to want to defend ourselves, to explain why we were right, or to seek an apology. But what if, instead of trying to prove our value, we let our silence speak for us? What if silence became a statement of dignity and self-respect? When we choose silence after rejection, we are not giving up or admitting defeat. On the contrary, we are asserting our dignity by refusing to lower ourselves to the level of unnecessary explanations or justifications. Silence is a powerful act of self-respect. It shows that we value ourselves enough not to engage in a dialogue that diminishes our worth or energy. Think about a moment in your life when you felt rejected. Perhaps it was a personal relationship, a professional setback, or a situation where you were overlooked or misunderstood. In those moments, how often did you feel the need to defend yourself, to explain, or to change someone's mind? How many times did you let the rejection consume your thoughts and emotions, trying to fix something that was beyond your control? Now imagine how different that situation would have been if you had chosen silence. Instead of scrambling for approval or validation, you chose to remain composed, preserving your energy and protecting your sense of self-worth. Silence in this context becomes a way of saying, I know my value and I don't need to convince anyone of it. It's a way of telling the world that you will not lower yourself to seek approval or justification from others. In Stoic philosophy, the idea of maintaining personal dignity and self-respect is paramount. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of upholding one's integrity, no matter the external circumstances. He said, "A man is not good because he has wealth, nor is he bad because he lacks it. It is the man's character that matters, and it is his behavior that defines him." In other words, it's not external rejection that defines who you are. It's how you carry yourself in response that reveals your true character. By staying silent, you show that your worth is not dependent on external validation. You refuse to engage in actions that might compromise your self-respect. Silence doesn't mean surrender. It means standing firm in your values, choosing not to react emotionally, and maintaining the strength of your character. This practice of silence becomes a form of self-protection. It helps you guard your dignity against the negative emotions rejection can trigger. It's a choice that puts your emotional well-being first, enabling you to process your feelings with grace and composure. So the next time rejection knocks at your door, remember that silence is not a weakness. It is a statement of strength. It is a declaration that you will not let rejection define you. You choose to uphold your dignity and self-respect, knowing that your worth is not contingent on someone else's opinion. By embracing silence, you make the most powerful statement of all. I am enough just as I am. As we wrap up today's episode, remember this. Rejection is a part of life. It's something we all face at one point or another. And while it can feel painful, it doesn't have to define us. In fact, rejection can become one of our greatest opportunities for growth when we choose to respond with silence. Silence isn't about shutting down or avoiding feelings. It's about finding the strength to control our reactions and preserve our dignity. By embracing silence in the face of rejection, you allow yourself to reflect, to regain your inner peace, and to redefine your priorities. You take back your power and show the world that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's approval. The Stoics knew that the key to resilience lies in controlling how we react to life's challenges. Silence is one of the most powerful tools we have to maintain our composure, dignity, and self-respect. It allows us to grow, to reflect, and to find freedom from the need for validation. So the next time rejection comes your way, I encourage you to pause, to embrace silence, and to use that moment to reconnect with your inner strength. Am I letting external factors dictate my mood and behavior? This mindful awareness is a form of self-leadership because it puts you in control of your inner state, not the circumstances. Moreover, Stoic reflection fosters a sense of personal accountability. It reminds us that while we may not control external events, we have full control over our values and commitments. When you reflect on your actions and their alignment with Stoic virtues, such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, you are effectively taking stock of your moral and ethical framework. This daily inventory helps ensure that you are living in a way that not only brings personal satisfaction, but also contributes positively to those around you. In practicing these reflections, we not only affirm our commitment to living virtuously, but also enhance our capability to lead ourselves with integrity. We become role models not by preaching virtues, but by practicing them. Each act of reflection deepens our understanding and our ability to apply Stoic principles to modern life. Embracing the long-term journey. As we wrap up our discussion today, it's important to remember that embracing the long-term journey of life is fundamental to practicing Stoicism. This philosophy isn't about quick fixes or instant gratification. It's about viewing each experience, challenge, and decision with a new perspective. As part of a broader narrative that shapes who we are and who we become, this perspective helps us see beyond the immediacy of our desires or discomforts, focusing instead on enduring principles and long-lasting fulfillment. Stoicism teaches us the value of patience and the importance of viewing life as a continuum, not a series of disconnected events. When we adopt this long-view philosophy, our daily hassles and hurdles begin to seem less daunting. This is because we're no longer just reacting to life as it happens. We're actively weaving a rich tapestry that represents our lived philosophy. Every thread, be it a challenge overcome or a lesson learned, adds depth and color to the overall picture. Consider how this approach transforms our understanding of success and failure. In the Stoic view, what matters isn't just the outcome, but the process, the manner in which we pursue our goals and handle setbacks. By focusing on the long term, we learn not to be overly elated by success or unduly discouraged by failure. Instead, we come to appreciate each step of our journey as an opportunity to practice virtue, to grow and to refine our character. This long-term journey also encourages us to remain humble and teachable. Stoicism doesn't claim to have all the answers, but instead offers tools to help us navigate life with wisdom and dignity. Embracing this journey means being open to learning, adapting and evolving as we gain more experiences. It's about recognizing that wisdom isn't static. It deepens and expands as we continue to engage with the world and reflect on our interactions. Moreover, embracing the long-term journey aligns with the Stoic practice of focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we cannot. This isn't about resignation, but about empowerment. It frees us from the unnecessary stress of trying to control the uncontrollable and allows us to invest our energy in actions and attitudes that truly enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. In practical terms, this might mean choosing to invest time in relationships that are nurturing and supportive, pursuing careers that align with our values, or dedicating ourselves to causes that we believe in. Each choice is a brick in the foundation of a life well lived, a life that reflects our deepest convictions and highest aspirations. Thank you all for joining me today in exploring these Stoic principles. Remember, the journey is long, but each step is a chance to reinforce who we are and what we stand for. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we learn not only to withstand the trials of life, but to approach them in a way that enhances our understanding of ourselves and our capabilities. Habit 3. The power of choice. Now that we understand that our emotions stem from our judgments and not the events themselves, let's delve into the profound Stoic principle of choice. This isn't about choosing what happens to us, that's often beyond our control, but choosing our response. And believe it or not, in that choice lies our freedom and power. The Stoics teach us that between the stimulus and the response there is a space. In this space lies our power to choose our response. This idea is incredibly empowering. It means that no matter what life throws at us, we have the last say on how we respond. Whether it's a rude comment, a financial setback, or a personal loss, our emotional response is ours to choose. Think about it this way. Life is like a complex dance. Events come at us in quick succession, and our emotions can react just as quickly. But like a skilled dancer who decides which steps to take on the dance floor, we can choose how to move with, around, or away from our emotional impulses. This doesn't mean ignoring our feelings. Rather, it's about acknowledging them and deciding the best course of action that aligns with our values and long-term goals. The key to making this practical is to develop what the Stoics called prosopsis, or mindful attention. It's about being aware in the present moment, recognizing our emotional triggers as they arise, and consciously deciding how we'll respond. By practicing mindfulness, we can widen that space between stimulus and response, giving us the time to choose our actions wisely. This power of choice is what enabled Stoic philosophers like Seneca to remain tranquil in times of extreme stress. Seneca suggested that we should rehearse worst-case scenarios in our minds, not to dwell on them, but to diminish the intensity of our reactions when faced with actual challenges. By doing so, we become less reactive and more responsive. Moreover, embracing this Stoic approach helps us build resilience. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding challenges, but from facing them with clarity and determination. Every time we choose a response that keeps us aligned with our goals, we strengthen our ability to handle future challenges more effectively. Habit 4: Techniques for action over emotion. As we delve deeper into the Stoic practice, it becomes clear that knowing you have a choice isn't enough. You need effective strategies to exercise that choice wisely. Here are some time-tested techniques drawn from Stoic wisdom that can help you choose your actions over your emotions, turning potential turmoil into triumph. One pivotal technique involves the simple yet powerful act of pausing when an emotion flares up. Imagine you're in a heated discussion. Instead of immediately reacting, give yourself a moment. This pause is a buffer, giving your rational mind time to wake up and process the situation. During this brief interlude, you can assess the emotion. Is it anger, frustration, fear? Acknowledging what you feel can diminish its overwhelming power, allowing you to respond rather than react. Another Stoic strategy is to reframe your thoughts about the situation. This cognitive reframing involves shifting your perspective to see the event differently. If someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry and assuming malicious intent, you might consider other explanations. Perhaps they're rushing to an emergency. Changing your narrative about the event can change your emotional response to it, helping you maintain your composure and perhaps even empathize with the other person. Values-based decision-making is another cornerstone of Stoic practice. Here you make decisions based on your core values, not fleeting emotions. Ask yourself, does reacting with anger align with my values? What would the best version of myself do in this situation? By aligning your actions with your values, you ensure that your responses contribute to the person you aspire to be, rather than a momentary emotional state. Emotional acceptance is crucial too. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to feeling bad. It means accepting that you're feeling a certain way without judgment or immediate reaction. Acceptance allows you to understand your emotions better and manage them proactively. It's like observing the clouds as they pass by in the sky. Notice them, but don't get carried away by the storm. Each of these techniques isn't just about handling a particular emotional moment. They are about cultivating a life where you consistently choose actions that reflect your rational and reasoned decisions. Practicing these techniques regularly can turn them into habits, fundamentally changing how you interact with your emotions and the world. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll find that not only do your emotional responses become more balanced, but your overall sense of well-being improves, allowing you to live more fully in alignment with your Stoic principles. Habit 5: Benefits of choosing actions over emotions. When we choose our actions consciously, aligning them with rational thought rather than fleeting emotions, we cultivate an inner stability that is apparent to those around us. This stability makes us more reliable and trustworthy. In personal relationships, this can deepen bonds as loved ones see us as pillars of strength, capable of supporting them emotionally rather than reacting impulsively to stressful situations. It means that in times of conflict or tension, instead of escalating the situation with emotional reactions, we contribute to resolving it, enhancing the quality and depth of our connections. Professionally, the ability to stay calm and collected under pressure is invaluable. In the workplace, emotions can run high, but the capacity to maintain composure sets leaders apart. This isn't about suppressing emotions, but rather managing responses in a way that is considered and constructive. Decisions made in this state are typically more strategic and thoughtful, leading to better outcomes and demonstrating a level of leadership that is respected and often emulated. Furthermore, choosing actions over emotions leads to personal resilience and mental toughness. The Stoics believed that our greatest trials are opportunities for growth. By facing challenges with a calm and composed demeanor, we train ourselves to handle future stresses with greater ease. This resilience can dramatically improve our overall well-being, reducing feelings of anxiety and depression, and increasing our life satisfaction. Essentially, we're not just reacting to life's challenges, we're actively shaping our journey through them. Another significant benefit is the development of self-awareness and self-regulation. These skills allow us to understand our emotional triggers and effectively manage them. This awareness then extends beyond ourselves, improving our empathy and understanding of others' emotions. With this enhanced perception, we can navigate social interactions more skillfully, adapting our responses to suit different situations and personalities. The practice of choosing actions over emotions equips us with tools not just to survive in our world, but to thrive. By embodying the principles of Stoicism, we don't just go through life. We grow through life, continually improving ourselves and positively impacting those around us. Habit 6. Overcoming challenges. Mastering your emotions and consistently choosing rational actions over impulsive reactions is no small feat. It's a profound challenge that requires dedication, patience, and resilience. In this journey, as Stoicism teaches us, we encounter numerous obstacles that test our resolve and our ability to apply philosophical principles to real-life situations. One of the first challenges many of us face is the intensity and immediacy of our emotional reactions. Emotions are powerful and can overwhelm even the most dedicated practitioners of Stoicism. They can surge quickly and unexpectedly, driven by deep-seated habits and instincts that have been reinforced over a lifetime. The key to overcoming this challenge isn't to suppress these emotions, but to acknowledge their presence without allowing them to dictate our actions. This requires a high level of self-awareness and the ability to pause and reflect in the heat of the moment, a skill that is cultivated through consistent practice and mindfulness. Another significant challenge is maintaining consistency in applying Stoic practices. It's one thing to remain calm and composed in a controlled environment, but it's entirely another to do so under stress in the face of adversity or during an unexpected crisis. The Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, which involves visualizing and mentally preparing for potential difficulties, can be incredibly helpful here. This exercise strengthens our mental resilience by familiarizing us with adversity before it occurs, reducing the shock and discomfort when challenging situations inevitably arise. Furthermore, there's the challenge of skepticism, both internal and external. Internally, you might doubt whether Stoic principles can truly make a difference in the face of real-world problems. Externally, peers or societal norms might question or undervalue the importance of emotional regulation, viewing it as unnecessary or overly philosophical. Overcoming this skepticism involves demonstrating the practical benefits of Stoic practices, not only through words but through actions. As we embody the calm, rational, and resilient traits promoted by Stoicism, the effectiveness of these practices becomes apparent, not only to ourselves but also to others. Lastly, integrating Stoic practices into daily life poses its own set of challenges. The modern world is fast-paced and often emphasizes quick reactions and emotional expressions. To counter this, setting aside time each day for reflection, such as journaling or meditative practices, can anchor us in Stoic principles. This daily commitment turns abstract concepts into tangible actions, gradually weaving Stoicism into the fabric of our everyday lives. Overcoming these challenges requires a robust commitment to self-improvement and a deep understanding of Stoic philosophy. It's about embracing the process, knowing that each obstacle is an opportunity to practice and strengthen our Stoic virtues. By steadfastly applying these principles, we not only overcome the challenges, but also grow stronger and more capable with each step forward. Habit 7. Real-life applications. Consider a typical scenario at work. You've put your heart into a project, but during the presentation, a colleague interrupts with criticism that seems unfair. The immediate impulse might be to defend your work aggressively, allowing irritation or anger to dictate your response. However, applying Stoic principles, you could take a moment to pause, acknowledging your initial emotional response without acting on it. Instead of snapping back, you might then choose to address the criticism calmly, asking for specific feedback that could improve the project. This approach not only preserves professional relationships, but also enhances your reputation as someone who is composed and receptive to feedback, even under stress. Now imagine a personal situation such as a conflict with a partner or family member. Emotions can quickly escalate in familial settings, turning minor misunderstandings into major conflicts. A Stoic approach would involve recognizing the emotional triggers as they arise and consciously choosing to respond with understanding rather than reactivity. This might mean taking time to listen actively to the other person's concerns without immediately reacting or trying to solve the problem. Such a response promotes dialogue and understanding, helping to resolve conflicts in a way that strengthens relationships rather than weakening them. In another aspect of personal development, consider the challenge of self-discipline, such as maintaining a fitness routine or a diet. It's easy to give in to momentary impulses, skipping a workout because you feel tired or indulging in an unhealthy snack. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our long-term goals and values rather than short-term comforts. By applying Stoic discipline, you can remind yourself of the reasons behind your choices, reinforcing your willpower to act in accordance with your greater good rather than momentary desires. Moreover, Stoicism can profoundly impact our overall resilience and mental health. In times of crisis or sorrow, such as during a financial setback or the loss of a loved one, the Stoic practice of focusing on what we can control, our responses, our values, our actions, becomes invaluable. While it's natural to feel grief or stress, Stoicism helps us navigate these emotions without letting them overwhelm us. We learn to accept our reactions as part of the human experience, but not to let them define our actions or our character. In each of these scenarios, the real-life application of Stoicism doesn't involve suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. Rather, it's about making a conscious choice to not be governed by them. This approach doesn't just help in isolated incidents. It cultivates a life of purpose, integrity, and wisdom. Habit 8. Scientific backing. One of the core Stoic practices involves regulating our emotional responses, which is closely aligned with what psychologists today call emotional regulation. This is not about suppressing emotions, but rather managing how we express and respond to them. Studies in the field of emotional regulation have shown that people who can effectively manage their emotions tend to have better mental health, higher satisfaction with life, and stronger relationships. These findings reinforce the Stoic view that gaining mastery over our reactions can significantly enhance our well-being. Neuroscience also offers insights into why Stoic practices are effective. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for higher-order thinking, plays a crucial role in managing our emotional reactions processed in the more primitive parts of our brain, like the amygdala. When we practice Stoic techniques like mindfulness or cognitive reframing, we're essentially training our prefrontal cortex to take the lead in emotional situations. This training can increase our neural resilience, making it easier over time to choose reasoned responses over reactive ones, even during stressful situations. Moreover, the concept of neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life, further supports Stoic practices. Each time we practice Stoic techniques, we strengthen the neural pathways that support these behaviors. This is akin to building muscle through exercise. The more we engage in Stoic practices, the stronger our emotional regulation muscles become. Research has demonstrated that consistent practice in mindfulness and reflection, both key components of Stoicism, can lead to changes in brain structures associated with awareness, empathy, and stress reduction. In addition to the psychological and neurological benefits, there's also evidence from behavioral science that supports the Stoic emphasis on habit formation. Habits play a crucial role in our daily lives, shaping our behaviors and outcomes. Stoicism teaches the importance of developing virtuous habits through repeated practice. This aligns with findings from behavioral science that show how the formation of habits can lead to sustained behavioral change, which is essential for long-term personal growth and fulfillment. By understanding the scientific principles that underpin Stoic practices, we can appreciate not just the philosophical, but also the practical value of Stoicism in modern times. It provides a framework not only for enduring life's challenges, but thriving amidst them, supported by a growing body of scientific evidence that these ancient techniques really do foster resilience, happiness, and a deeper sense of life satisfaction. Habit 9. Daily practices for implementation. One of the most effective daily practices is the discipline of mindfulness. This involves taking time each day to focus on the present moment without judgment. You can start simply by spending a few minutes each morning or evening reflecting on your thoughts and feelings. This practice helps create a mental space around our reactions, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with composure rather than impulsivity. Mindfulness can be cultivated through meditation, but it can also be practiced throughout the day, while eating, walking, or even during conversations by being fully present and attentive. Journaling is another powerful tool in the Stoic toolkit. Keeping a daily journal can help you reflect on your experiences and the decisions you made throughout the day. It's a chance to evaluate what went well and what could be improved. This reflection isn't about self-criticism, but about self-improvement. Write about instances where you successfully applied Stoic principles and times when you didn't. Over time, you'll start to see patterns and areas where you might need to focus more effort. Visualization is a practice often used by athletes, but is equally valuable in Stoic practice. Each morning, take a few minutes to visualize how you will face the day's challenges with stoicism and grace. Imagine handling a difficult situation at work with calmness, or resolving a dispute at home with compassion and rationality. By mentally rehearsing these scenarios, you prepare yourself to act in accordance with your values when the actual situation arises. Another daily practice is to set clear intentions for the day. What Stoic virtues do you want to embody today? Whether it's courage, justice, temperance, or wisdom, choose your focus and remind yourself of it throughout the day. This intention setting can help guide your decisions and interactions, making it easier to live up to your Stoic ideals. Finally, it's crucial to practice gratitude. The Stoics believed that to be happy, we must appreciate what we have, rather than bemoaning what we don't. At the end of each day, reflect on 3 things you are grateful for. This could be as simple as a warm meal, a conversation with a friend, or something you accomplished at work. This practice not only shifts your focus from what's going wrong to what's going right, but also fosters a general sense of contentment and well-being. These practices are not just exercises, they are transformative processes that, when incorporated into daily life, forge us into more resilient, thoughtful, and balanced individuals. They ground the lofty ideals of Stoicism in the reality of everyday experience, enabling us to live more fully and react more thoughtfully, no matter what life throws our way. Habit 10. Practice these 10 daily Stoic habits. Starting with mindfulness training, it's essential to cultivate a practice where you deliberately focus on the present moment. This could be through meditation, where you begin by dedicating just 5 minutes each morning to sit in silence, focusing on your breath and observing your thoughts without attachment. Over time, you might increase this to 20 minutes or more. This practice enhances your ability to stay present during daily activities and reduces reactivity to external stresses. Next is the emotional log. This involves keeping a daily record of strong emotions you experience, the situations that triggered these emotions, and how you chose to respond. By documenting these instances, you gain insight into your emotional patterns and triggers, allowing you to develop strategies to manage them more effectively. Then there's the practice of deliberately exposing yourself to discomfort. This could be taking a cold shower, fasting, or engaging in a rigorous workout. The idea is to strengthen your resilience and fortitude, teaching you that you can endure and remain composed even in uncomfortable situations. This habit trains you to act despite your feelings, aligning with the Stoic value that external conditions should not disrupt our inner tranquility. Visualization also plays a crucial role. Spend a few minutes each day imagining yourself facing and overcoming daily challenges with composure and adherence to your Stoic principles. This mental rehearsal preps your mind to act according to your visualization when actual challenges arise, reinforcing your desired behaviors. A pivotal Stoic practice is setting a daily intention or a catalyst, a single impactful action that aligns with your values and moves you closer to your goals. This could be as simple as deciding to be particularly generous with your time or patience that day. By identifying and acting on this catalyst, you create a ripple effect of positive actions throughout your day. Incorporating micro-decisions is another key habit. Throughout your day, be conscious of the small choices you make, from what you eat to how you respond to an email. These choices might seem insignificant, but they add up and shape our character and destiny. By making these decisions deliberately, you strengthen your decision-making muscle, ensuring that your actions consistently reflect your values and goals. Ending your day with a gratitude slam can shift your focus from what went wrong to what went right. Forcefully articulate 3 things you're grateful for each day. This practice isn't just about feeling good. It's about retraining your mind to recognize and appreciate the positives, fostering a general attitude of contentment and resilience. A weekly feedback loop with a trusted friend or mentor about your behavior and reactions can provide valuable outside perspective and promote growth. This exercise requires humility and openness, but is instrumental in helping you see blind spots in your character that you might otherwise miss. Practicing the emotion-action split is about taking a moment to identify your emotional state before deciding on an action. Whenever you feel a strong emotion, pause, name the emotion, and then choose a rational response rather than acting on the emotion directly. This habit helps break the automatic link between feeling and reacting, allowing for more considered and effective actions. Lastly, daily philosophical reading such as a page from Marcus Aurelius' Meditations or Epictetus' Enchiridion can provide daily inspiration and reinforcement of Stoic principles. These readings serve as a mental nourishment that fortifies your resolve to live according to Stoic virtues. These 10 habits are not just activities, but are gateways to transforming your life in line with Stoic wisdom. As you integrate these practices into your daily routine, you'll find that they not only enhance your ability to manage challenges, but also enrich your life with greater peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Each day presents a new opportunity to practice these habits. Each practice a step towards mastering the art of living well. To rebuild your resilience, it's essential to develop strategies that help you manage anger and strengthen your emotional foundation. One effective approach is to practice self-care regularly. Engaging in activities that promote relaxation, joy, and well-being can replenish your emotional reserves and build resilience. This might include hobbies, exercise, spending time in nature, or simply taking time for yourself to relax and unwind. Developing a growth mindset can also enhance resilience. A growth mindset involves viewing challenges as opportunities for learning and growth, rather than as insurmountable obstacles. By reframing your perspective and embracing a more optimistic outlook, you can build the mental flexibility needed to adapt to and overcome adversity. This shift in mindset can reduce the impact of anger and help you approach difficulties with a more constructive attitude. Building strong, supportive relationships is another key component of resilience. Cultivate connections with people who uplift and encourage you. Share your struggles and seek support when needed. A robust support network provides a safety net that can catch you when you fall and help you bounce back more quickly. Mindfulness practices can also enhance emotional resilience by helping you stay present and aware of your emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. Techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, and progressive muscle relaxation can help you develop a greater sense of calm and control. By regularly practicing mindfulness, you can increase your capacity to manage stress and reduce the intensity of your anger. Imagine a life where challenges are met with strength and composure, where setbacks are seen as opportunities for growth, and where you have the emotional reserves to face whatever comes your way. This is the life that awaits you when you build and nurture your emotional resilience. It's a life where you can handle stress with grace, maintain a positive outlook, and recover quickly from adversity. The next step is to commit to these resilience-building practices and embrace the journey towards a more balanced and resilient self. As you strengthen your emotional resilience and equip yourself to face life's challenges with grace, it's important to understand another profound effect of anger: its ability to impair your judgment and cloud your decision-making. Anger can distort your perception of reality, leading to choices that might not align with your values and long-term goals. When anger takes hold, it can create a tunnel vision effect, where your focus narrows to the immediate source of your frustration. This limited perspective makes it difficult to consider alternative viewpoints or the broader implications of your actions. In the heat of the moment, you might make hasty decisions without fully understanding the consequences, leading to regret and further complications down the line. Consider how anger affects your ability to assess risks and benefits objectively. When you're angry, your emotional state can skew your evaluation of a situation and making you more likely to take unnecessary risks or overlook potential downsides. For example, an angry outburst at work might lead you to confront a colleague or supervisor aggressively, jeopardizing your professional relationships and career prospects. This impulsive behavior can have lasting repercussions, creating additional stress and obstacles to overcome. Anger can also impair your ability to empathize with others. A crucial component of effective decision-making, empathy allows you to understand and consider the feelings and perspectives of those around you. When anger clouds your mind, it becomes challenging to step into someone else's shoes and anticipate their reactions to your decisions. This lack of empathy can result in actions that harm relationships and create conflicts, further isolating you and exacerbating your anger. Another way anger distorts judgment is by fostering a sense of righteousness and entitlement. When you're angry, you might feel justified in your actions, believing that your anger gives you the right to act aggressively or make demands. This sense of entitlement can lead to confrontational and unreasonable behavior, which alienates others and creates additional problems. It's important to recognize that while your feelings are valid, they don't excuse harmful actions. Moreover, anger can lead to a fixation on blame rather than solutions. When you're consumed by anger, you might focus on assigning blame for your frustrations instead of looking for constructive ways to address the issue. This blame-oriented mindset can prevent you from finding effective solutions and moving forward. It also fosters a negative atmosphere where conflicts are perpetuated. To counteract the judgment-impairing effects of anger, it's essential to develop strategies that help you maintain a balanced and objective perspective. One effective approach is to practice emotional regulation techniques that allow you to calm down before making decisions. Taking a few deep breaths, stepping away from the situation, or engaging in a calming activity can help you regain control of your emotions and approach the issue with a clearer mind. Engaging in reflective practices such as journaling or talking through your thoughts with a trusted friend can also help you gain insight into your emotional responses and their impact on your decision-making. By reflecting on past decisions made in anger, you can identify patterns and develop strategies to avoid similar pitfalls in the future. Seeking diverse perspectives can enhance your decision-making process as well. When faced with a challenging situation, consider consulting with others who might offer different viewpoints and insights. This can help you see the issue from multiple angles and make more informed choices. Surrounding yourself with supportive and level-headed individuals can provide a valuable sounding board for your ideas and decisions. Building emotional intelligence is another key component of improving judgment. Emotional intelligence involves understanding and managing your own emotions, as well as recognizing and influencing the emotions of others. By developing this skill, you can navigate emotionally charged situations more effectively and make decisions that are aligned with your values and long-term goals. Practicing mindfulness can also help you stay grounded and present, reducing the likelihood of making impulsive decisions driven by anger. Mindfulness techniques such as meditation and deep breathing can help you cultivate a sense of calm and clarity, allowing you to approach situations with a more balanced and thoughtful mindset. Imagine a life where your decisions are guided by wisdom and foresight, where you can navigate challenges with a calm and clear mind, and where your actions consistently align with your values and aspirations. This is the life that awaits you when you learn to manage your anger and enhance your judgment. It's a life where you can build stronger relationships, achieve your goals with confidence, and create a future that reflects your true potential. The next step is to embrace these practices and commit to a path of thoughtful and deliberate decision-making. As you cultivate a life guided by wisdom and thoughtful decision-making, it's crucial to acknowledge how unchecked anger can stifle your creativity and innovation. Anger can create mental blocks, hinder your ability to think outside the box, and prevent you from tapping into your full creative potential. When anger dominates your emotional landscape, it consumes a significant portion of your mental energy. This constant preoccupation with negative thoughts and feelings leaves little room for creative thinking. Creativity requires a certain level of mental freedom and flexibility, and which is hard to achieve when your mind is clouded by anger. Instead of exploring new ideas and possibilities, you find yourself stuck in a cycle of frustration and negativity. Consider how anger affects your problem-solving abilities. Creativity often involves looking at problems from different angles and finding innovative solutions. However, when you're angry, your thinking becomes rigid and narrow. You're less likely to see alternative perspectives or consider unconventional approaches. This rigidity can limit your ability to come up with creative solutions and stifle your innovation. Anger can also inhibit your willingness to take creative risks. Innovation often involves stepping outside your comfort zone and trying new things. When you're angry, your fear of failure or rejection can be heightened, making it difficult to take these necessary risks. You might find yourself sticking to safe and familiar methods, even when they aren't the most effective, simply because you're afraid of making mistakes or facing criticism. Another way anger stifles creativity is by creating a hostile internal environment. Creativity thrives in an atmosphere of curiosity, openness, and playfulness. However, anger fosters a sense of hostility and defensiveness, both towards yourself and others. This negative internal environment can suppress your creative instincts and make it difficult to explore new ideas with an open and curious mind. Anger can also affect your ability to collaborate with others, which is often essential for creative endeavors. Creative projects frequently involve teamwork and the sharing of ideas. When you're angry, it can be challenging to communicate effectively and work harmoniously with others. Your anger might cause you to reject others' ideas, dominate conversations, or create conflict, all of which can hinder the collaborative process and stifle collective creativity. To unlock your creative potential, it's important to develop strategies that help you manage anger and create a more conducive environment for innovation. One effective approach is to engage in activities that promote relaxation and reduce stress. Practices such as meditation, yoga, and deep breathing can help calm your mind and create the mental space needed for creative thinking. Another powerful technique is to immerse yourself in environments that inspire creativity. Surround yourself with stimuli that spark your imagination, whether it's spending time in nature, visiting art galleries, or reading books that challenge your thinking. These experiences can help shift your focus away from anger and towards a more open and curious mindset. Collaborating with others can also enhance your creativity. Seek out individuals who inspire you and challenge your thinking. Engage in brainstorming sessions, workshops, or creative projects that allow you to share ideas and gain new perspectives. Collaborative efforts can provide fresh insights and stimulate your creative process, helping you break free from the constraints of anger. Developing a growth mindset is another key component of fostering creativity. A growth mindset involves viewing challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth. By embracing this mindset, you can reduce the fear of failure that often accompanies creative risks. This shift in perspective allows you to approach creative endeavors with greater confidence and resilience, even in the face of obstacles. Incorporating regular periods of reflection and self-care into your routine can also support your creative process. Take time to reflect on your thoughts and emotions and identify any patterns of anger that might be hindering your creativity. Engage in activities that nourish your mind and body, such as journaling, exercise, or spending time with loved ones. These practices can help you maintain a balanced emotional state and create a fertile ground for creative thinking. Imagine a life where your creativity flows freely, where you can explore new ideas and possibilities without the constraints of anger. A life where your innovative spirit is nurtured and your creative potential is fully realized. This is the life that awaits you when you learn to manage your anger and cultivate a more open and curious mindset. It's a life where you can achieve your creative goals, collaborate effectively with others, and contribute to the world in meaningful and innovative ways. The next step is to embrace these practices and commit to a path of creativity and innovation. As you embrace your creativity and open your mind to new possibilities, it's important to consider another profound impact of unchecked anger: its potential to undermine your sense of purpose and fulfillment. Anger can cloud your vision, distract you from your goals, and prevent you from living a life aligned with your deepest values and aspirations. When anger becomes a dominant force, it can consume your thoughts and energy, leaving little room for introspection and self-discovery. This constant preoccupation with negative emotions can make it difficult to connect with your inner desires and passions. Instead of pursuing meaningful activities and goals, you might find yourself stuck in a cycle of reacting to immediate frustrations and grievances. This reactive approach to life can leave you feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from your true purpose. Consider how anger can distract you from your long-term goals. Achieving meaningful objectives requires focused dedication and a clear sense of direction. However, when you're frequently angry, your attention is often diverted to addressing the sources of your anger. This distraction can prevent you from making consistent progress towards your goals and undermine your sense of achievement. Instead of moving forward, you might find yourself constantly putting out fires and dealing with setbacks caused by your anger. Anger can also erode your motivation and drive. When you're consumed by negative emotions, it's hard to find the enthusiasm and energy needed to pursue your passions. This lack of motivation can lead to procrastination and a sense of stagnation where you feel stuck and unable to move forward. Over time, this can create a sense of hopelessness and resignation where you start to believe that your goals are unattainable and that your efforts are futile. Moreover, anger can create a sense of isolation and disconnection from others, which further undermines your sense of purpose. Meaningful relationships and connections are often a crucial part of feeling fulfilled and purposeful. However, anger can strain these relationships and create barriers to genuine connection. When you're isolated and disconnected, it's harder to find the support and encouragement needed to pursue your goals and live a fulfilling life. To reclaim your sense of purpose and fulfillment, it's essential to address the underlying causes of your anger and develop strategies to manage it effectively. One powerful approach is to engage in regular self-reflection and introspection. Take time to explore your values, passions, and long-term goals. Reflect on what truly matters to you and what you want to achieve in life. This self-discovery process can help you reconnect with your inner desires and create a clear vision for your future. Developing a sense of gratitude can also enhance your sense of purpose. Gratitude involves recognizing and appreciating the positive aspects of your life, even in the midst of challenges. By focusing on what you're grateful for, you can shift your perspective away from anger and towards a more positive and fulfilling outlook. Keeping a gratitude journal where you regularly write down things you're thankful for can be a powerful tool in this process. Building a supportive network of friends, family, and mentors can provide the encouragement and guidance needed to pursue your goals. Surround yourself with individuals who uplift and inspire you, and who can offer valuable insights and support. Engaging in meaningful conversations and activities with these individuals can help you stay focused and motivated even in the face of challenges. Practicing mindfulness and meditation can also help you stay grounded and connected to your purpose. Mindfulness involves paying attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. By practicing mindfulness, you can become more aware of your thoughts and emotions and learn to manage them more effectively. This awareness can help you stay focused on your goals and make decisions that align with your values and aspirations. Volunteering and giving back to your community can also enhance your sense of purpose. Helping others and making a positive impact can provide a deep sense of fulfillment and meaning. By contributing to causes that you care about, you can create a sense of connection and purpose that transcends your individual concerns and challenges. Imagine a life where you wake up each day with a clear sense of purpose and direction. A life where you're motivated and inspired to pursue your passions, and where your actions align with your deepest values and aspirations. This is the life that awaits you when you learn to manage your anger and reconnect with your sense of purpose. It's a life of fulfillment, meaning, and joy. As we come to the end of this journey, remember that anger doesn't have to control your life. By recognizing its impact and taking steps to manage it, you can reclaim your happiness, strengthen your relationships, and unlock your full potential. Embrace the tools and strategies we've discussed and start transforming your life today. Another powerful aspect of generosity is that it helps shift your focus outward. When you're caught up in your own worries, giving to others, whether it's through volunteering, mentoring, or simply being present, can help reduce anxiety and increase your sense of purpose. Generosity creates a cycle of positivity. The more you give, the more connected and fulfilled you feel. Here's something practical you can do. Each day, look for one opportunity to practice a small act of empathy or generosity. It could be as simple as listening to someone without interrupting, offering help when you see someone struggling, or even just sending a thoughtful message to someone you care about. These small acts, done consistently, build a habit of empathy and generosity that strengthens your character and enriches your relationships. Ask yourself, am I approaching my interactions with empathy, or am I focused solely on my own perspective? If you find yourself slipping into self-centered thinking, pause and try to see things from the other person's point of view. This simple shift can transform the way you relate to others and foster deeper, more meaningful connections. Remember, fostering empathy and practicing generosity isn't about grand gestures. It's about showing up with kindness and understanding in everyday moments. When you make empathy and generosity a core part of your life, you don't just improve your relationships, you cultivate a sense of purpose, fulfillment, and inner peace. In the end, what truly matters isn't how much you accumulate, but how much you contribute. By fostering empathy and practicing generosity, you create a life of connection, meaning, and lasting impact. You don't just live for yourself, you become a source of light and strength for those around you. And in doing so, you discover a deeper sense of happiness and fulfillment. Lesson 12. Nourishing your mind and body. In a world that constantly demands your attention, energy, and effort, it's easy to neglect the most important foundation of a fulfilling life: your mind and body. We often push ourselves to the limit, prioritizing external achievements over internal well-being, only to find that without proper care, our energy fades, our focus diminishes, and our peace of mind slips away. Nourishing your mind and body isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for living a balanced, resilient, and meaningful life. When you take care of your body, you're not just enhancing your physical health, you're also supporting your mental clarity, emotional stability, and overall sense of well-being. Exercise, proper nutrition, and rest aren't just physical acts. They directly influence how you feel, think, and respond to life's challenges. Seneca once said, "A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world." The Stoics believed that a disciplined approach to caring for your body was essential for cultivating a strong mind. Nourishing your mind goes beyond simply consuming information. It's about feeding your mind with thoughts, ideas, and practices that promote growth and peace. This means being intentional about what you read, watch, and listen to. It means engaging in practices like mindfulness, meditation, and reflection that help calm your mind and strengthen your ability to focus. Start by asking yourself, what habits do I currently have that nourish my mind and body, and what habits might be draining me? Identifying these patterns is the first step toward creating a lifestyle that supports your well-being. For example, staying up late scrolling through social media might seem harmless, but over time it can disrupt your sleep, drain your energy, and leave your mind cluttered. On the other hand, prioritizing rest, exercise, and quiet time for reflection can have a profound impact on your mood, productivity, and resilience. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to nourish your body is through movement. This doesn't have to mean intense workouts at the gym. It could be a morning walk, stretching, or any form of physical activity that gets your blood flowing and your energy levels up. Regular movement not only improves your physical health, but also releases endorphins, which boost your mood and reduce stress. Equally important is nutrition. The food you consume is the fuel your body and mind run on. Eating a balanced diet, rich in whole, unprocessed foods, provides your brain with the nutrients it needs to function at its best. It's not about being perfect with your diet. It's about making small, consistent choices that support your long-term health. When it comes to nourishing your mind, quiet time and reflection are key. In a world filled with constant noise and distractions, taking time each day to be still, whether through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting quietly, helps clear your mind and strengthens your ability to stay present. These moments of stillness allow you to process your thoughts, release tension, and reconnect with what truly matters. Here's something practical you can do. Each day, commit to one small act that nourishes your mind and one that nourishes your body. It could be as simple as reading a chapter of a book that inspires you, practicing deep breathing for 5 minutes, or preparing a healthy meal. Over time, these small acts compound, creating a lifestyle that supports your well-being. Ask yourself, am I treating my mind and body with the respect they deserve? If not, start today. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's what allows you to show up fully in life for both yourself and those you care about. In the end, your mind and body are your most valuable assets. When you nourish them consistently, you cultivate a life of strength, clarity, and inner peace. You equip yourself to handle life's challenges with resilience and grace. By making your well-being a priority, you don't just live, you thrive. And that's when life truly becomes rich, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about creating space for something better. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of what no longer serves you, whether it's people, situations, habits, or even outdated versions of yourself. When you let go of what holds you back, you gain clarity, peace, and the ability to move forward with intention. In this episode, we explored 12 powerful lessons on how to let go and create a life of greater balance and fulfillment. From unlocking the power of detachment to nourishing your mind and body, each lesson offers a practical way to reclaim your energy and refocus on what truly matters. Life is filled with constant change, but by learning to let go with grace and strength, you empower yourself to face those changes without fear. Why does this matter? Because clinging too tightly to people, expectations, or even past versions of ourselves only leads to frustration and suffering. But when you learn to let go, you discover a deeper sense of freedom and inner peace. You stop being a prisoner to what's beyond your control and start living with greater purpose and presence. Here's something to reflect on. What is one thing I'm ready to let go of today? It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. It could be a small thought, a minor frustration, or an unnecessary habit. Every small step toward letting go creates a ripple effect, helping you cultivate a life that feels lighter, freer, and more aligned with your values. Remember, letting go is a practice, not a one-time event. It takes courage, patience, and self-compassion. But with each quiet release, you make room for growth, connection, and a life of greater joy. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Did you know that some people in your life might be subtly draining your energy or causing you harm, even without you realizing it? In today's world, where toxic behaviors are often hidden behind charming facades, it's crucial to recognize the signs of truly harmful individuals. This video will explore 10 specific signs that you might be dealing with a truly evil person, and how Stoic wisdom can help you protect your peace and navigate these toxic relationships. These are insights I've personally tested and integrated into my own life, and they've helped me build stronger boundaries and a more resilient mindset. Grab your journal, get comfortable, and let's dive into these transformative insights. Stick around as I'll share actionable steps and personal stories to help you spot and handle harmful people with wisdom and grace. Without further ado, let's get started and uncover the secrets to identifying truly toxic individuals and protecting your inner peace. Number 1, they take pleasure in others' failures. This behavior stems from envy and insecurity. People who take pleasure in others' failures see your success as a threat. They may think that if you rise, it somehow diminishes their own worth. It's almost as if they're keeping score, and your wins feel like points against them. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they silently root for your downfall. And sometimes they go a step further by actively sabotaging your efforts, whether it's spreading rumors, giving bad advice, or creating obstacles that make it harder for you to succeed. From a Stoic perspective, this is a clear sign of a mind in turmoil. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Their joy in your missteps reflects a lack of control over their own thoughts and emotions. Instead of focusing on their own growth, they fixate on bringing others down. It's important to remember that their negativity is not about you. It's a projection of their own dissatisfaction with life. Let me share an example. Imagine working on a group project, and you pour your heart into it. The moment you share the final results, someone in the group points out flaws, not to improve the work, but to diminish your contribution. They might laugh at mistakes, question your ideas, or even imply that you were just lucky if things went well. You may not see it immediately, but over time their pattern becomes clear. They're not offering constructive feedback. They're trying to chip away at your confidence. Transcription. So how do we respond? Stoicism offers us a path. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, we can focus on our inner fortitude. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." In this case, their craving for superiority over others reveals their poverty of spirit. By refusing to engage in their negativity, you protect your peace and keep your energy directed toward your own goals. You might also notice these individuals lurking when life throws you a curveball. Perhaps you've faced a setback like losing a job or struggling in a relationship, and instead of offering support, they seem oddly content. They may even exaggerate your situation when talking to others, turning your challenges into gossip. Stoicism teaches us to view such people with compassion, not resentment. Epictetus reminds us, when someone behaves badly toward you, remember that he is acting in accordance with his own understanding. Their joy in your struggles is a reflection of their flawed perspective, not a measure of your worth. Picture yourself as a steady rock in the middle of a storm. Their negativity might swirl around you, but it doesn't have to move you. Negative energy often manifests in subtle but persistent ways. For instance, you might notice how this person thrives on gossip, turning every conversation into a critique of others. Or perhaps they're always playing the victim, recounting stories where they've been wronged without ever taking accountability. Being around them can feel like stepping into quicksand. The longer you stay, the harder it is to maintain your own positivity. In moments like these, Stoic wisdom teaches us to set boundaries, both emotional and physical. Epictetus said, "Keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." This doesn't mean avoiding every difficult person, but it does mean being mindful of how much energy you invest in these interactions. If someone's negativity is weighing on you, it's okay to limit your exposure or even politely excuse yourself from their company. Sometimes this negativity isn't directed at you, but still affects the environment. Imagine a friend who constantly complains about their circumstances, how unfair life is, how others have it better, how nothing ever goes their way. While you may empathize with their struggles, the unrelenting stream of pessimism can feel like a heavy weight on your shoulders. Stoicism teaches us to approach such situations with compassion, but also with discernment. Marcus Aurelius said, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Listen if you can, but don't absorb their energy as your own." What's important to remember is that people emitting negative energy are often struggling internally. Their negativity is a reflection of their own unresolved issues, fears, or dissatisfaction. While Stoicism doesn't encourage us to judge or condemn them, it does remind us to protect our own peace. Practicing gratitude, mindfulness, and focusing on our own inner virtues can act as a shield against their energy. Number 3, they are chronic liars. One thing about chronic liars is how convincing they can be. Imagine someone telling you a detailed story about a vacation they never took. They described the beaches, the food, and even the people they met. It sounds so vivid that you'd never think to question it. Later, you find out it was all fabricated. The worst part, they didn't gain anything from the lie. It was purely to impress or manipulate. For someone rooted in Stoic principles, this kind of dishonesty is unsettling because it runs counter to the virtue of truthfulness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This is a reminder to value honesty even when others don't. Chronic liars are often skilled at justifying their behavior. They might say things like, "I didn't want to hurt anyone," or "It's not a big deal." But over time, their lies can cause serious harm. Think about trusting someone with important information, only to realize later that they twisted your words to serve their agenda. For instance, you might confide in someone about a personal struggle, and they turn around and use it as gossip to gain sympathy or attention. Learn that betrayal stings deeply because it violates the trust you placed in them. Stoicism offers guidance in how to respond to such situations. Epictetus taught that while we cannot control others' actions, we can control our reactions. When dealing with chronic liars, it's important to protect your inner peace. Recognize their behavior for what it is, a sign of their own insecurity or lack of integrity, and don't allow it to derail your values. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Another aspect of chronic lying is how it can make you question your own instincts. You may start to wonder if you're overreacting or misjudging them. This self-doubt is exactly what liars rely on to maintain control. They thrive in the gray areas where facts are blurred and reality is hard to pin down. In their world, accountability is for everyone else. Stoicism teaches us that strength lies in self-awareness and accountability. Marcus Aurelius said, "If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I shall gladly change. I seek the truth which never harmed anyone." The courage to admit mistakes is what separates the truly strong from those who merely pretend. Their illusion of perfection often extends to their personal life as well. On social media, for instance, they might present an idealized version of themselves. Flawless photos, luxurious lifestyles, and carefully curated moments of joy. While there's nothing wrong with sharing highlights, these individuals use it as a tool to maintain the illusion of perfection. Behind the scenes, however, their relationships might be fraught with tension or their confidence might be deeply fragile. The Stoics would remind us not to be deceived by appearances. Epictetus taught appearances are of four kinds. Things either are as they appear, or they neither are nor appear to be, or they are and do not appear to be, or they are not and yet appear to be. Learning to discern reality from the facade protects us from getting caught up in their performance. Their behavior often includes subtle ways of putting others down to elevate themselves. For instance, they might constantly critique others' work choices or lifestyles, always positioning themselves as the standard of excellence. Imagine sharing a personal accomplishment only to have them say, "Well, that's great, but I would have done it this way," as if their way is inherently superior. Over time, these interactions can make you feel like you're always falling short. Stoicism reminds us not to measure ourselves by others' standards. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't be overheard complaining, not even to yourself." Instead of internalizing their critiques, focus on your own growth and values. Another hallmark of someone pretending to be perfect is their need to control narratives. They're often the first to share their version of events, ensuring they come out looking blameless. For example, in a disagreement, they might quickly tell others their side of the story, framing themselves as the victim or hero before you've even had a chance to explain. This tactic ensures they maintain their perfect image, even at the cost of others. In such moments, Stoic wisdom advises us to remain calm and let the truth reveal itself over time. As Seneca said, time discovers truth. The more they try to manipulate perceptions, the more apparent their dishonesty becomes. Their unwillingness to show vulnerability is a sign of their weakness, is another clear sign. Vulnerability requires courage. It means admitting you don't have all the answers or that you've made a mistake. For someone pretending to be perfect, this is unthinkable. They'll avoid difficult conversations, downplay their struggles, and refuse to ask for help, all to maintain their flawless image. But Stoicism celebrates vulnerability as a strength Epictetus taught. It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. By admitting our limitations, we open ourselves to growth and connection, something those who pretend to be perfect often miss out on. Number 5. They hide their true selves. Some people are like shapeshifters, constantly changing their behavior depending on who they are with or what they want. On the surface, they might seem adaptable or charming, but underneath it all they're hiding who they really are. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Pay attention to how someone behaves over time, not just the persona they project. They also have a habit of mirroring others to gain acceptance. For example, they might adopt your interests, mimic your mannerisms, or agree with everything you say to appear likable. While it can feel flattering at first, it eventually feels unsettling because it lacks sincerity. Stoicism reminds us that true connection comes from being real, not from pretending to be someone else. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not act as if you were going to live tens of years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Life is too short for superficial connections built on deception." Number 6, they manipulate without guilt. Manipulation is one of the most unsettling traits someone can possess. It's not just the act of persuading others to do something, it's the calculated way manipulators twist emotions, situations, and even perceptions to get what they want. What makes it so insidious is that manipulators often do this without a shred of remorse. They don't care who gets hurt, as long as their goals are achieved. For those of us striving to live authentically and ethically, encountering someone like this can feel disorienting and exhausting. Manipulators often rely on subtlety. Imagine someone who seems to always get their way, but when you look closer, you realize they've achieved this by making others feel guilty or responsible for their desires. For instance, they might say something like, "If you really cared about me, you'd do this," or "I guess I'll just figure it out on my own." It's not a direct demand, but it creates an emotional pressure that's hard to ignore. Stoicism offers a valuable perspective here. Epictetus reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Recognizing this manipulation allows you to regain your sense of freedom and choose your actions deliberately rather than being driven by guilt. Another tactic manipulators use is playing the victim. They present themselves as helpless or wrong to evoke sympathy and get others to act on their behalf. For example, they might recount a one-sided story about a conflict, painting themselves as completely innocent while exaggerating the faults of others. This draws people in, making them feel obligated to take the manipulator's side. From a Stoic standpoint, it's important to resist the urge to react emotionally to these stories. Marcus Aurelius advised, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." They act as if they're the center of the universe, and everyone else is merely a supporting character in their story. You might notice this entitlement in how they approach relationships. For example, they expect you to drop everything for them. But when you need their help, they're suddenly too busy or unavailable. It's as if their needs always outweigh yours. If you don't comply, they might act offended or try to guilt you, as if you're the one being unreasonable. Stoicism reminds us that relationships should be built on mutual respect and fairness. Seneca said, "We are waves of the same sea, leaves of the same tree, flowers of the same garden." True connection comes from recognizing equality, not exploiting others for personal gain. In a professional setting, entitlement can be even more glaring. Imagine working with someone who constantly demands credit for work they didn't do or expects special treatment just because of their title or connections. They might complain about not getting promotions or rewards while ignoring the effort others put in. This behavior creates tension and resentment because it undermines the shared effort that drives success. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own contributions and not get caught up in comparisons. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Don't aspire to be on the best-dressed list. Aspire to be a person of virtue. Your worth is determined by your actions, not by the recognition others demand for themselves." Entitled people also tend to view rules and boundaries as obstacles rather than guidelines. For instance, they might cut in line, expect favors without reciprocation, or disregard policies that everyone else follows. To them, rules are for other people, not for someone as special as they believe themselves to be. This disregard for fairness can be infuriating, but Stoicism offers a way to handle it. Titus taught, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." While you can't control their sense of entitlement, you can choose how much power you let it have over your peace of mind. Their entitlement often comes with double standards. For example, they might demand forgiveness for their mistakes, but be unwilling to forgive others. Or they expect unwavering loyalty while offering none in return. This hypocrisy can leave you feeling frustrated and taken advantage of. Stoicism encourages us to rise above such behaviors by focusing on our own integrity. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Don't let their double standards pull you into the same cycle of selfishness and blame. Another hallmark of entitled people is their tendency to overreact when they don't get what they want. For example, imagine they ask for a favor that you can't fulfill. Instead of understanding your situation, they might lash out, sulk, or make you feel as though you've wronged them. It's as if the mere idea of being told no is unbearable for them. Stoic philosophy teaches us to maintain our composure in the face of such reactions. Seneca said anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. Stay calm, set boundaries, and don't let their tantrums dictate your decisions. Entitled individuals also lack gratitude, which is perhaps the most telling sign of their mindset. Even when they receive help or benefits, they treat it as something they were owed, rather than a gesture of kindness. For instance, you might go out of your way to support them, and instead of thanking you, they barely acknowledge your effort or even expect more from you. Stoicism places immense value on gratitude as a key to happiness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you do not have, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess." Practicing gratitude not only helps you appreciate life, but also shields you from the entitlement of others. Number 8. They help only when it benefits them. Some people only offer help when there's something in it for them. At first it can be hard to notice, but over time you start to see a pattern. They'll step in when there's a clear personal gain, but when you need support, they suddenly become too busy or unavailable. It's as if their acts of kindness are just transactions. They help because it enhances their image, benefits them directly, or puts them in a position of power. This kind of self-interest can feel like a betrayal, especially when you realize that your well-being is only valuable to them when it serves their own goals. For instance, you might lend a hand to someone in need, only to find that when you're the one going through a tough time, they're nowhere to be found. They might offer excuses or just ignore your requests for help. It becomes clear that their help was more about building a favor bank for themselves than about genuine kindness. Stoicism teaches us to act with integrity regardless of whether there's a benefit to us. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Let not your mind run on what you lack as much as on what you have." True help comes from a place of selflessness, not self-interest. This transactional approach to helping others can extend to more subtle ways of manipulating situations. They might offer advice that seems helpful, but it's always with the caveat that you owe them something in return. For example, they might help you with a small task at work, but later expect you to cover for them or do something in exchange. Stoics value assistance that comes without strings attached. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Their help is an attempt to control the situation, but your power lies in choosing not to engage in that exchange. It's easy to get frustrated or even angry when you realize you're dealing with someone who only helps when it benefits them. But Stoicism encourages us to maintain our inner peace, no matter how selfish others might be. Instead of harboring resentment, focus on cultivating a generous spirit yourself without the need for anything in return. Seneca wrote, "No man can live happily who has regard to himself alone and transforms everything into a question of his own utility." Helping others is an opportunity to practice virtue, not a transaction to get something in return. Their behavior often creates a sense of imbalance in relationships. You may feel like you're constantly giving while they take, without ever offering anything that doesn't benefit them. For example, they might enjoy the perks of being your friend, but when it's time to offer support, they disappear. Over time, this kind of behavior can lead you to re-evaluate your relationships. If you're always the one giving and they're only helping when there's something in it for them, it's important to recognize the dynamic and protect your energy. Stoicism teaches us to protect our peace and not allow others to dictate the terms of our relationships. As Marcus Aurelius put it, when you have the opportunity to benefit another person, do so with sincerity and without expecting anything in return. True generosity comes from a place of inner strength, not out of a desire for reciprocity. Number 9, they have many enemies. People who have a trail of enemies in their wake often show us the consequences of their actions, even if they don't realize it. These individuals may present themselves as charming and friendly on the surface, but underneath they leave a path of damaged relationships, unspoken resentments, and unresolved conflicts. They may go on about how others have wronged them, or how they had to cut people off due to misunderstandings. But the truth is, when you consistently have problems with so many different people, the common denominator is usually you. These individuals often live in a world of blame. They accuse others of betrayal, but they never stop to ask why things keep falling apart around them. A friend of mine had someone in their life who was always pointing fingers at others for not understanding or supporting them. But when you looked closely, it was their own actions that were at the root of most conflicts. This person's inability to accept responsibility for their own part in things was a constant source of tension. Stoicism teaches us to take full responsibility for our actions, no matter how difficult it may be. As Epictetus said, we are not disturbed by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens to us. The moment we shift the focus to our own behavior, we regain control and clarity. People who have many enemies also tend to speak poorly about those they've fallen out with. Instead of reflecting on the situation, they trash-talk former friends, colleagues, or acquaintances. For example, you might hear someone constantly recounting how they've been wronged by every person they've ever worked with, or how no one ever understands them. This constant narrative of being the victim reflects a refusal to see things from other perspectives, and it often comes at the expense of their own growth. Stoicism reminds us to remain calm and composed in these situations. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Instead of engaging in their petty squabbles, take the higher road by practicing empathy and understanding, even if you don't agree with the person's behavior. One of the hardest things to do is to watch someone behave in a way that causes constant conflict, and then act surprised when they're isolated or surrounded by enemies. Their tendency to burn bridges can eventually lead to loneliness, and they may try to convince themselves that it's everyone else's fault. But in truth, their lack of self-reflection and their refusal to take responsibility for their actions are what perpetuate the cycle. In Stoicism, we are taught to focus on what is in our control, particularly our own actions. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." It's easy to get caught up in someone else's narrative, but it's important to stay grounded in your own truth and not get lost in the drama they create. These individuals often fail to learn from their mistakes. They repeat the same patterns, burning bridges, speaking ill of others, and distancing themselves from anyone who challenges their behavior. And because they don't learn from past conflicts, they're doomed to repeat them. A family member of mine went through cycles of friend groups, only to end up alone time and time again. Every time they'd start a new relationship, whether professional or personal, the cycle would repeat. They'd create tension, become defensive, and then cut ties, convinced that everyone else was to blame. Stoicism teaches us that growth comes from self-examination, not from avoiding uncomfortable truths. As Epictetus said, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. By confronting our own mistakes, we can break free from cycles of conflict and start building healthier, more constructive relationships. Number 10. They thrive on hate. There are some people who seem to live in a constant state of anger and resentment. It's as if hatred fuels them, and without it, they wouldn't know who they are. These individuals often thrive in environments where negativity is rampant. They focus on flaws, criticize others endlessly, and can't seem to find anything good to say about anyone. Their minds are consumed by the faults and wrongs of others, and they take pride in pointing out imperfections wherever they see them.